Our season is back on track. After below average first 3 game weeks, we finally hit it big with a 2 million green arrow in game week 4, and hopefully this means we're going to see some consistent green arrows over the next couple of game weeks. In today's video, I'm going to show you my transfer plans ahead of the game week 5 deadline, and with a lot of managers panicking and activating their wildcard this week, we're also going to take a look at what I'm considering activating mine. On the topic of chips, I also have every chip left to play this season, so I'll also take a look at what I'm considering using my bench boost, free hit and triple captain. We've lots to discuss. Let's get into the video. What is up everyone, how's it going? FPL Era here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Before we get into the video, let's hit a like goal of 70 likes, so head on down there, drop the video a like, and if you are watching and you're not subscribed, head on down there, click subscribe on the channel. We're so close to hitting 8k subs. The goal before Christmas is 10k, but let's get 8k out of the way first. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, please consider heading on down there, clicking subscribe on the channel and helping me hitting that milestone. So here's a quick look back at my Gaming 4 review. 79 points of the week was a lovely return for the team, and we finally got that much needed monster green arrow, and we're now sitting at 2.4 million overall, and our season is back on track. We're going to start off with the new signings, Munoz and Semenyo. If you watched my YouTube video and my deadline stream last week, there was nothing but Semenyo propaganda on the channel all week, so I was absolutely delighted to see him come away with a goal and assist, and more importantly, a 13-point haul against Brighton at the weekend. Fair enough about the assist, but the penalty was definitely jammy. When Evan Nielsen was fouled, I didn't even think Semenyo was going to take it, but I can't complain on that, and that 13-pointer was absolutely beautiful. Moving on to Munoz, he did pick up a yellow card, but he got the job done after picking up a clean sheet against Sunderland, so bringing in Munoz and Semenyo was a plus 17-pointer after taking out Cunha and Nico Williams. If you did watch my last video, I predicted Anderson was finally going to get his first attacking return of the season. He didn't get his attacking return, but he did manage to come away with a 10-point return, picking up DEFCON points and a 2 bonus point to come away with a monster 10-point haul. Who did get the first attacking return of the season was Van de Ven. He outshone Pedro Porro and took the headlines in that West Ham game, and he came away with a clean sheet and a goal for a monster 14-point return. What a return for that 3-man defence. Moving to the rest of the team, João Pedro came away with a jammy assist away to Brentford. We're not complaining though, we'll gladly take that return, and that means he's now picked up 5 returns in his last 3 game weeks, and what a season he's having so far. On to our captaincy pick, Mo Salah. He came away with an 18-point return away to Burnley on Sunday. Absolutely did not deserve this return at all. He had a terrible game. The Burnley defence kept him quiet all game, only for Liverpool to get a penalty in the 94th minute, and to be fair to him, he stuck it away well. That means now in the first 4 game weeks, our captaincy picks have returned in the 90 plus minutes every week. Off in game week 1, Salah with a 94th minute goal and 90 plus 10 minute assist away to Newcastle. Bruno coming away with a 97 minute penalty against Burnley, and then Salah getting a 94 minute penalty against Burnley on Sunday. We're not complaining though. Similar to the João Pedro assist, 4 returns from the captaincy pick in the first game weeks. Rodgers and Watkins came away with a disappointing return once again, and that draw with Everton at the weekend now means Aston Villa have failed to score in any of the first opening 4 games, so I've got some serious question marks around my double Aston Villa attack, and we'll chat about that later on in the video. Bruno Fernandes and Reinders failed to return in the Manchester derby on Sunday. To be fair to Reinders, he should have scored twice in this game, and it was just a tough watch as a United fan. And let's move on to the Chelsea game at the weekend. All in all, 79 points of the week was a great return for the team, and more importantly, we got that monster green arrow, and we're now sitting at 2.4 million overall. Let's move on now and have a look at my transfer plans ahead of the game week 5 deadline. So before we get into my transfer plans this week, here's a look at your Gaming 5 questions ahead of the deadline this week. Starting off with question number 1, if you still have Verts in your team, is it finally time to sell them? I'm going to give you 1 short answer and 1 long answer. Short answer is, if you don't have Semenyo, yes, such a no-brainer. Get Semenyo in for Verts. Semenyo's such a good value asset in the game at the moment, priced at 7.5 million, and with the fact he is on penalties. That's a short answer, straight swap for Semenyo, get him in if you don't have him. The long form answer is, if you already have Semenyo, would you consider keeping Verts this week? I wouldn't blame you if you rage transfer out Verts for any other player in the game at the moment. Blank after blank after blank after blank. He's had a terrible start to the season, and he's definitely not worth that price tag. But considering the fixtures are poor this week for every other team that is below 8.5 million in the game, Everton away to Liverpool wouldn't push me into doing a transfer, bringing in Grealish and Dye this week. Maybe Xavi Simons away to Brighton with the fact he is on set piece duties for Spurs. Maybe Paqueta at home to Crystal Palace. But if you are looking the wildcard in game week 6, maybe you just keep Verts for the Merseyside derby this week. Give him 1 more week and see how he gets on in that Liverpool fixture, and then if you wildcard in game week 6, get Verts out of the team, and then at least you'll have another transfer after your wildcard coming into game week 7. As I said, I would not blame you if you don't want to do that and then rage transfer Verts out. But yeah, Semenyo should be your top priority. If you were looking between Xavi Simons or Paqueta, maybe Simons, the way Spurs fixtures are looking at the moment. That's what I'd be considering, but I do feel very sorry for you Wirtz owners. With a lot of managers having a slow start to the season, I'm seeing a lot of them panicking and looking towards activating their wildcard, and that leads us on to the next question: when is it the best time to use your wildcard? If you are looking to use it in Game Week 5, I tell you, do not use it in Game Week 5. Be patient, give it at least another week in your team. If you're looking to wildcard in Game Week 5, you'll want 3 Arsenal and 3 Man City players in your wildcard, and they play each other at the Emirates on Sunday. So at least give it a week, hold off until then, and then use your wildcard in Game Week 6, and then you can load up on Arsenal and Man City players when their fixtures turn good. Even though Mo Salah's returned in 3 of the 4 game weeks this season, looking at the form of Erling Haaland at the start of the season, is it time to take out Mo Salah to fund this transfer of bringing in Haaland into your team? I'm going to give Mo Salah the Merseyside derby at least this weekend. Going back to what I'm saying about Man City and Arsenal assets, with the fact they're playing each other this weekend, I'm happy enough. I may regret saying this, but I'm content enough at least with having Haaland out of my team this week, and I can look towards bringing in Haaland in Game Week 6. Whether I use the funds from Salah to fund Haaland, I may look towards having a Mo Salah and Erling Haaland wildcard draft, or I might drop Salah completely to get Haaland into the team, so I have a bit more balance amongst the players. But that's something I need to figure out ahead of the Game Week 6 deadline. Looking at the Aston Villa assets, with no goal for Villa in the opening 4 game weeks, and that means there's been no return on the attacking front for any of the attackers, is it finally time to sell Watkins and Rodgers? If you're like myself and have these 2 players, I'm going to say no. We have to give them the Sunderland game this weekend. I know Watkins has dropped in price to 8.8 million, but I'm happy enough to give them the Sunderland game. They do have Brentford in the AFL Cup on Tuesday night, so fingers crossed Watkins and Rodgers can come out of that game injury free, and I have to give them the Sunderland game, and then I can worry about getting rid of them if I do consider wildcarding in Game Week 6. That brings us on to our last question. If you have Chris Wood in your team, is it finally time to sell him after 3 blanks in a row? It feels so long ago since he got that 13-point return in Game Week 1 against Brentford. The short answer is no, you're going to have to be patient. He's got Burnley and Sunderland over the next 2 game weeks, so you definitely don't get rid of Wood for those games. We're still unsure how he's going to play under Ange. He did come off just before the 60th minute at Arsenal at the weekend, but I do think he starts the Burnley and Sunderland game. I do think he can do well in those games. So if you have Chris Wood, keep him in your team, and you should see some returns in those games. So let's chat about my chip strategy, and here on screen is how I'm currently lining up on using my chips for the first half of the season. Starting off with a potential Game Week 6 wildcard, where I'm eyeing up bringing in Man City and Arsenal players for their favourable fixture run, maybe even going double the Arsenal offence in Raya and Gabriel, and making sure I get Erling Haaland into the team for that Game Week 6 fixture at home to Burnley. Then looking at a bench boost, I'm probably eyeing up a bench boost in Game Week 8, just because I'll more than likely have Dubravka and Esteve on my bench, and Burnley have Leeds at home in Game Week 8, so that's a good shout for a clean sheet for Burnley in that game. The only downside of a Game Week 8 bench boost is the fact if I do go for Jack Grealish on my wild card, he won't be able to play Man City in Game Week 8, so that may steer my decisions of not bringing Grealish into my Game Week 6 wild card, but we'll worry about that when the time comes around. We're then looking towards a potential free hit in Game Week 15 when Man City face Sunderland at home, Liverpool play Leeds away, and Newcastle play Burnley at home. So 3 lovely fixtures for Newcastle, Man City and Liverpool. So that'll pretty much be the foundations of a Game Week 15 free hit team. And then on to the triple captaincy. If I do use my free hit in Game Week 15, which I probably will, that means I won't be able to triple captain Erling Haaland at home to Sunderland in Game Week 15. But I should be able to make up some ground at not triple captain Erling Haaland in Game Week 15 by bringing in triple Liverpool and triple Newcastle for their favourable fixtures. And then that brings us back to potential triple captaincy in Game Week 14 when Liverpool face Sunderland at home during the midweek game. So looking at my potential lineup ahead of the Game Week 5 deadline, here's how we're currently shaping up. And to be fair, the team doesn't look that bad on paper. I do have 1 free transfer. I'm more than likely looking to roll the free transfer with that Game Week 6 wildcard in mind. If I save that transfer this week, I'll have an extra transfer for Game Week 7 to clean up any messes that do happen during the wildcard. Going from defence to attack, it's probably a small bit harsh to drop Van de Ven onto the bench after his 14-point haul against West Ham at the weekend. But to be fair, Brighton away is a tough task. I do expect Brighton to score in that game, and I'm happy enough to move Milenkovic back into the team alongside Anderson and Munoz. On the goalkeeping front, do I play Sanchez or Dubravka? Dubravka and Burnley looked very good against Liverpool in defence at the weekend, but for now I'm putting Sanchez in goals. On to the double Aston Villa attack. We spoke about them earlier on in the video. I have to give them that Sunderland game. Surely get their season kicked off in that Sunderland game at the weekend, and fingers crossed Rodgers and Watkins can come away from that EFL Cup game against Brentford on Tuesday injury free. On to the captaincy. I'm currently giving the armband to Mo Salah in the Merseyside derby in the early kickoff on Saturday. If I do look to take out Mo Salah of my Game Game Week 6 wildcard. This could be the last time I captain Mo Salah for a long period of time this season, so fingers crossed he can give us a few returns for a farewell gift. Looking at Bruno Fernandes and João Pedro, I'm expecting a scrappy game at Old Trafford, so I'm not expecting too many returns from this game, especially with Chelsea playing Bayern during the week. Maybe João Pedro's minutes may be managed in that game. Bruno Fernandes has a full week's rest. I wouldn't mind an attacking return or some DEFCON points, as he failed to do so against City on Sunday. Looking at Reinders then away to Arsenal, I'm not expecting too many returns from Reinders. Fingers crossed, if he does get a chance like he did against Man United on Sunday, he can stick one in the net this weekend. Looking at Semenyo, I'm delighted to have him in the team on penalties. As I said, he's a great value asset in the game at the moment. And then my Aston Villa double attack complete the team, as I said already, surely to get some returns this weekend. If you haven't made it to the end of this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's hit a like goal of 70 likes on this video, and we're so close to hitting 8k subs. So if you are still watching and you're not subscribed, head on down there, click subscribe on the channel. Let's get to the 8k and then we can look towards hitting our 10k milestone before Christmas. I'm actually flying to Manchester on Wednesday to play Luke Littler in a game of darts, which is pretty crazy to be honest with you. So let's see how we get on against him. So we may not have time to film a team selection video when I do get back, but this is how I'm currently lining up. Let's see if there's any injuries during the Champions League or the EFL Cup games, and we'll consider making a move if we need to. I'll see you all on Saturday afternoon for a Game Week 5 deadline stream. Thanks for watching, best of luck for the week. I'll see you in the next video.